voter parking. We wanted to reserve that for, number one, the election workers, to keep them away from the main area on the east lot, and for the parishioners or other persons who would go to the parish hall to work or visit.
Refresh my memory, wasn't the parking in the front east, the front east parking area, wasn't that for the parishioners? I thought that's what we.
That is,
Okay.
yep, the west side.
West side.
It is
It's
also.
the west side, I keep saying, I'm
You
sorry.
have church staff, parishioners,
Yep.
and visitors to the rectory, those doing meetings or religious education meetings or things in the parish hall edition.
The other,
You know,
the other issue, I'm sorry,
that's-
once again, the other issue with this proposed idea would be the poll exit location. The majority of the people exiting the polls are coming out the east side exit. You would have to have a separate exit now to service now new proposed west side parking.
No, because when they come out, they can just go back in and go through the rear exit, because they were coming in that way.
Yes, they were coming in the rear exit, which was another set of problems, quite frankly, because you do have rear persons parking in the rear, which was mostly my election workers.
Right,
But we did have voters who did park there too, and we had one woman who slipped outside because of the weather conditions and all. And, you know, they will enter through that rear door, yes, you know, I mean, there's no, I think, situation here that's ideal. And we're just trying to, like you said, go forward, try something that's familiar to most of the people that go to the church, because they know the traffic flow and they know how the parking configuration is. And I think that by eliminating that dividing line in the middle, we definitely would be able to fit in more cars at least than we have now.
Steve? I concur with Barbara. But couple things. First of all, I think this provided us, this last election in January provided us with a marvelous opportunity to see all the obstacles and trials and tribulations
You have no
associated
idea.
with trying to run an election that we'll probably never be able to experience again, and I think we're learning a lot from it. But I think the more familiar you have things for
Mhm.
people, the better off, and
Yes.
the better the flow's
I
gonna be.
agree.
You know,
And
we tried this other thing, and it was a little bit confusing for people, and again, two cars at the top of the parking lot block things off and messes up the pattern. So I think, you know, you're
And-
still gonna have people who are gonna try and park by the entrance or the exit way and not gonna pull all the way forward. I mean, you have that at Sunday Mass, you know, when you've got a gap in between cars, you know, but that's going to happen. You know, for the most part, for the upcoming election, you know, again, the turnout isn't going to be what we just saw, and I think that will, again, get the people, the regular voters into the flow again, and it's gonna be very familiar to them, and I think that's what we need to do. Maybe some additional signage, you know, would certainly enhance for those people who don't come very often, and, but I think it's back to the norm, back to what people are used to. I think the traffic will flow much better, and I think during a normal election cycle, whether it be the town elections and the primaries, when there aren't big voter turnouts, I don't think you're gonna have a third of the issues, you know? And of course, the weather generally isn't a factor, but, so I say, yeah, try your suggestion as far as, the regular church parking and move on.
Sean?
Just my last point, and I don't know if the officer who's out there doing the voter exit detail could assist, but I noticed that the southeast side of that parking lot was not used hardly at all. People tend to what I noticed was parked from midway point where the parish hall is back. If you can somehow get the flow to come down closer to 62, the voters come in and park closer to 62, it may assist in alleviating some of these problems as well. Or at least the
Hopefully, if they
backing up.
see openings, you know, with the better weather, you know, in the daylight conditions, whether, you know, weather staying brighter at night, maybe they'll see that opening. What
And
we
maybe the
managed
officer can assist and just
Yeah,
wave them down, come down, park closer to 62 and fill that in first.
And the other thing is maybe block off part of the parking lot and, until the busy
Until you need it,
times.
yeah.
Until you need it, to get people in the habit
of moving down.
of moving down the parking lot. As Josh pointed out, everybody parks up.
first spot they see.
Yeah. So if you block it off, you know, during, and then, you know, at the busy times, you might open it up, but other than that, force again,
Yeah.
it's,
Habit.
force,
The only
yeah,
difficulty
force them
with
into the
that
habit.
is, again, you know, you're out there trying to, you block something off, you need, you know, people to do that. When we were setting up these divisions for the January election, the DPW crew, well, they didn't even come and set it up. They sent some of the private plowers to help me divide the parking lot because the DPW crew was out doing the heavy equipment and keeping, you know, the streets clean. So they sent people who were not familiar.
I know, but
with the division.
again, that was an
But- but
anomaly.
Typical
we
election.
divide
That's not a typical election, though.
No, but the barriers fell down, you know, they continued to fall through the day when I was there setting up, the day before, because of weather conditions, not just snow, but wind, could be anything, you know, it's not, they're not the sturdiest things. So some of that, the difficulties with that is that you have to continue to monitor the outside and send somebody out to.
Do we have a police
Not only
officer?
that, if I may, I respectfully can't agree with that idea, Steve, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna make, well, just a couple of examples, senior citizens and young people with children walking farther through the parking lot. Just leave it open and let them use wherever. When they fill up by the door, they're gonna automatically move down.
One thing, yeah, if the
You know.
lots are, if the lines are, the parking spots are filled closer down.
They're gonna
I mean,
move down.
People will have to.
They're gonna have to move down. I mean, if we block off the prime area, we'll say, right by the northern end of that lot, we'll say, you're just gonna force people to walk further down through that parking lot. I'd just say leave it open and let's see how they filter through there.
Just an observation. At the very back, where you make the right turn to go around, and then you enter into, which is kind of a narrow downhill, right? It might be possible to, steal a half a lane or something. What I'm talking about is up here, to make this a little wider.
Well, the only way you can really do that is to block it off, but then you wouldn't have the
You'd lose.
ability for a vehicle to go there.
I know, but just take to me, it looked like you come around this corner here, and when you're gonna make this turn, you're making a turn downhill, and you have to make a fairly tight turn.
I understand what you're saying, and to leave that open would be fine, but we'd have to put some kind of a
Yeah, you
barrier
have to put something there to prevent people from parking in that one row. Jeff?
Yeah, with your plan, if we had the exact same scenario happen, is your plan based on that this would work better than what we did if what happened in December?
I think it would work a little bit better, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. This was just, it's very confusing, you know, it's not the norm. People, as I said, half the town already voted there, whether or not they went to St. Teresa's Church, they were used to the stacked parking. Those persons in precincts 1 and 2 who never voted there some of them are parishioners and are used to that stacked parking. And people follow other people, you know, a car goes in and goes a certain direction, that somebody who may not be familiar is gonna follow that. They're gonna follow the
Right.
parking pattern, they're gonna follow the traffic
Okay.
pattern.
No, I understand that. I think the one of the observations that I had when I was there on the exit, that the spots to park, as soon as you come out that door for at the exit, there probably should be about 6 spots for no parking whatsoever, because what happens when people come out, someone's backing out, and they're backing in and walking into one another.
tried
So
to do
that area probably should be cordoned off to say no parking at
Well,
all.
again, we
you know.
tried to do that, and it didn't work. People ignored it. We tried to we didn't just divide the lot in half, we made it a walking path in the middle to try to protect the pedestrians from being on either side of the cars that park, so that they would walk down this middle strips. And we did keep that open, but it was ignored.
No, but I mean when you walk out the door, as soon as you,
Right.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
strip, there was a
Okay.
strip there.
was it blocked off?
Well,
Because,
we attempted to,
Yeah.
we didn't have the personnel to keep the barriers in place and to monitor where the cars were parked.
but isn't that exactly where all the officers stood, was at that exit right there?
That's where one officer stood the
Right.
whole time, correct.
Right, so
And
at that,
he was watching the traffic coming, you know, and
he's watching everybody.
it was
Yeah.
a busy
But-
night.
Very
Busy
difficult
day.
position to manage.
Yeah.
So,
Just one other suggestion, and you probably already thought of this. Instead of having the traffic coming around the church and come down the lane closest to the church, what if you just forced everyone to come around the far east side and park straight in that way? So no one's back, you won't have anyone backing up into someone who's walking in. They'll at least be coming out head first. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Coming this way and.
It would
and
change-
parking?
That it's gotta be
But then
contrary,
there-
it's
there's
gotta be
parking
contrary to the line,
contrary to the
contrary to
striping
the
again.
striping in
That
the
makes sense.
parking lot.
Yeah, and that.
All right, forget
that's-
that.
yeah.
Forget that. But I think the officer, I don't know what, I wasn't there all day, so I don't know what the officer was doing out there, but I think the officer can assist in doing more than just assisting people coming in and out. They should be at least keeping an eye on who's parking where to the best of their ability. I know they can't have eyes in the back of their head, but I would hope that the officer, whoever's out there doing the detail, can
Yeah.
That officer.
be of more
had
assistance.
his hands full. I can,
Like I said, I wasn't there all day, but I'm just saying,
It was a busy day. It was a busy,
was very
it
busy.
was very busy. It wasn't the norm.
well, I think we should go along with the suggestions of our safety officer, and next time around, change the configuration. I think it would be a good idea to see if we could come up with a couple of signs. And, maybe this is the area we have to train everybody. And, go through it a few times, and then people will get it. I like the idea of, now thinking about it, I like the idea of trying to keep it the way it was. Because not only do you have the churchgoers that are used to it, but you have two precincts that have been voting that way for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you have no objections to having the safety officer there? I want to be sure I'm clear on that.
Safety officer where?
At the exit, odor exit,
On 62?
at the parish hall.
At the parish hall?
And on 62, at least during the busy elections like November. I'm not anticipating totally that May will be
Yeah,
extremely busy, or September
I
certainly.
think you use your best judgment in relation to what election it is. I mean, your presidential primaries, your general, regular elections, again, where you're getting, 18% participation as opposed to 70%, I don't think it's necessary. But,
And then we go along with the, if the police chief comes down and tells us we have to have it, then I know we have to have it, but we will keep that into consideration, definitely. When I planned for even details, when we were in 3 locations, it was to have a traffic detail on the entrance areas during the busiest elections, not for everyone. But here, you're joining all 4 precincts now in one location, so it's just going to naturally be heavier traffic, for every election than it was in 3 locations. So, but we'll do our best.
I think you need to do what's necessary to make it happen, basically. So people can get there and get
Yeah,
out,
ensure
and
the
that we
public
don't,
safety.
we
right.
don't run over anybody. And hopefully, after a couple more rounds, people will get used to doing it,
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 7:10, one-day license. Gentleman here for the license? I'm gonna skip over the minutes and come back to them later.
Hey,
Since we're skipping, give
7.
everybody a chance.
Number 7.
What color sheet was it?
Orange, there it is,
Like a pinkish,
pinkish orange.
Perhaps you could start by telling us what the FA
Salmon.
project is. Tell everybody.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Wayne Saeed. I'm the treasurer of the FA project. So basically, I'm the guy that does any administrative work and all the accounting work for this small charity that was started by me and 4 of my friends. One of my good friends from college has the disease called Friedreich's ataxia. It's a neurological disorder in the muscular dystrophy family. And about a year ago, we decided, we were at a point in our lives where we could start raising some money to help out people that are less fortunate and have Friedreich's ataxia. So this is going to be our 2nd fundraiser. Our first one was in June of last year. And we're doing it at a local bowling alley here. Because a friend friends are